You ever wake up at 6 in the damn morning, open your front door, bleary-eyed mug in hand, still in your pajamas, only to find two guys in knockoff police uniforms waving a fake badge and a stack of bogus paperwork in your face, demanding you sign up for some imaginary HOA? Yeah, that was my Tuesday. If you'd told me a week earlier I'd be arguing with Halloween cops before I'd even had my first cup of coffee, I'd have laughed and gone right back to sleep. But in this town, refusing to play along with the so-called Lake HOA Club is pretty much a declaration of war. And the queen pin behind it all, Karen, no, not the meme, the actual woman who thinks she runs Clearwater Lake because she wrote up a set of rules in her living room and slapped her name on everyone. Let me back up a second. I'm not a morning person. Never have been. Probably never will be. So when that pounding rattled my cabin door at exactly 6 a.m., right as sunlight was just starting to flicker through the pines, my first feeling wasn't fear or curiosity, it was pure coffee-deprived rage. This place was supposed to be my sanctuary, my grandfather's cabin, the one I inherited, along with his old-school drafting desk, and every blueprint he ever drew. My safe place. I'd spent half the night working on plans for a client's new lake house, thinking the only thing I'd have to worry about today was whether my coffee maker would keep up with me. So when those officers started shouting about code violations and HOA membership, I thought, here we go. One was twitchy and thin, the other built like a linebacker, both looking like they'd borrowed their uniforms from a high school theater prop closet. We need you to sign here, sir, to acknowledge the violations and agree to join the Clearwater Lake HOA. Immediate compliance required. Right, because nothing says legitimate like threatening someone with 50 grand in fines before sunrise. I asked to see their badges up close. They hesitated a little too long for real cops. Then the big one shoved a clipboard through the door gap. I took a good look and almost laughed. The badge was so cheap, I could have bent it in half with one hand. Security officer looked like something you get for $20 online, not the kind of thing a sheriff would wear. I decided to play along. Okay, fellas, let me call the county sheriff just to verify. That did it. Suddenly, they had somewhere to be. They peeled out of my driveway so fast they left gravel in the air. And there on my steps, just for good measure, I found the fake badge tossed aside like a dropped poker chip. I called the real county dispatcher, gave her my name and address, and surprise, there were 0 complaints, no active investigations, nothing. Would you like to file a report? She asked. Oh, you bet I would. That's when curiosity kicked in dangerous kind. Who hires fake cops to strong-arm their neighbors into joining an HOA? Why did my cabin, sitting on land, grandfathered in since '87, matter so much? I started digging. Spread every deed, permit, inspection record, and tax receipt across my table just in case I'd missed something. Nope. No mention of any Clearwater Lake HOA. My property was private, paid for, clean title, no strings attached. Next I hit the county records. Turns out this Clearwater Lake HOA was registered a mere 2 years ago. The agent on file, Veronica Blackmere, a name I'd never heard. But after a little digging, I found she owned the biggest mansion on the lake, plus the only construction company allowed to work on new homes around here. Blackmere Construction, she'd built up an empire, and apparently decided it wasn't enough. Midday, I wandered down to the community mailboxes, hoping to catch a neighbor. That's where I met Elena Martinez, a retired teacher, who'd lived here longer than I'd been alive. Logan, right? You had a visit from Veronica's people, she said, shaking her head. Fake cops, right? When your neighbors know about the fake police scam, you know you're in trouble. Elena invited me to sit and let me tell you the story. She unloaded, chilled me to the bone. Veronica moved in after her husband's mysterious boating accident. 6 months later, she forms this HOA, starts leaning on everyone to join. 7 families forced out, always the same pattern: threats, code violations, septic tanks failing at just the right time. Those who resisted saw their homes snapped up by shell companies. Veronica bought them all. Elena slid a USB drive into my hand, recordings, bank statements, emails. "If you're going to fight her, you'll need evidence," she whispered. "You ever get that feeling you just picked a fight way out of your weight class?" That's how I felt as Veronica herself showed up at my front door not an hour after I'd gotten Elena's drive. She had that look, blonde, buttoned up, every hair in place, like someone who'd never had a bad day she couldn't buy her way out of. "Mr. Dwight, I believe there was some confusion with our compliance officers yesterday." Her voice was honey, her smile was daggers. "We'd like to offer you a special rate for membership, seeing as your property documentation has irregularities. $25,000 plus $800 a month, all for the honor of joining her little club." I told her flat out, "Not interested. My property's legal, always has been, always will be." Her smile never slipped, but I could see the steel behind her eyes. "You'll understand soon enough, Logan." And with that, she vanished. I spent that night combing through Elena's evidence audio of Veronica plotting financial records emails to officials. The most damning, a video of Veronica gloating about her late husband's $5 million insurance settlement. Something about the way she said it, like it was a business transaction, not the death of her spouse, made my skin crawl. The more I dug, the clearer it became this was organized, professional, dangerous. That's when the next wave hit. Just past midnight, the stocky fake cop reappeared, now in a legit county code uniform, delivering official violation notices. 3 complaints, all forged, all carrying my own perfect signature. I called the real county office. Yep, 3 active cases, all supposedly filed by me. That's how you know someone's deep in the system. I spent the rest of the night wiring cameras, setting up call recorders, emailing my lawyer, looping in a friend at the state AG's office. At 3 a.m., I got the call, distorted voice threats, the whole 9 yards. "Stop digging, join the HOA, or lose everything." I traced the call, came from a cell tower less than 2 miles from Veronica's house. She wasn't even trying to hide anymore. Next morning, I called in backup, a private investigator named Marcus Grant, known for exposing crooked HOAs. He arrived, took one look at my pile of fake violations, and said, "You're the 8th guy who's called me about Veronica Blackmere." Marcus laid it all out. Veronica's MO was always the same. Fake cops, forged violations, buyouts under duress. But this time, he had a twist. He showed me a confession letter already typed up, my name at the bottom, confessing to the murder of Richard Blackmere, Veronica's husband. The FBI had reopened Richard's case, and Veronica needed a scapegoat, me. She'd planned the perfect crime, kill me, close the case for good, rake in the casino millions. Just as we were connecting the dots, the door rattled, deputies with fake warrants, backup vehicles, tasers out. Marcus, thinking quick, texted his contacts. FBI agent Sarah Blake was already investigating the casino land grab. As the fake cops battered through the door, Marcus slipped me a recording device, whispering, "Don't sign a damn thing." They zip-tied me, dragged me out, and drove me, get this, not to a police station, but an abandoned warehouse. Inside, Veronica, in her power suit, confession letter, pistol on the table. "You're going to sign this, and then we'll stage your suicide." I played along, stalling for time, recording every word as she confessed to Richard's murder, to the land scam, to her affair with Senator Cromwell, who was helping muscle through casino permits. She bragged about her political power, about how she'd never get caught. But as she reached for my hand, right on cue, the real FBI busted in, tactical gear, weapons drawn. Agent Blake herself led Veronica out in cuffs, reading her rights as the fake cops were rounded up. For one glorious minute, I thought justice had finally landed. But Veronica's lawyers posted bail before the ink was dry. The next day, I woke up to see my face on the news, painted as a mentally unstable neighbor, harassing a grieving widow, with Senator Cromwell calling me a conspiracy nut on live TV. The whole story spun in reverse. Now I was the villain and Veronica the victim. Just when it felt hopeless, the phone rang. Richard Blackmere, the man himself. not dead. He'd faked his own drowning with the help of a friend, had been hiding out for 2 years, gathering evidence on Veronica and her senator lover. When he showed up at my cabin, aged a decade but alive, he brought proof videos of Veronica poisoning his whiskey, scheming with Cromwell, even killing a county inspector who'd started asking questions. His plan crashed Veronica's big HOA meeting where she'd called the press to clear her name and reveal everything. The next day, the community center was packed residents, media, law enforcement. Veronica sat at the head table, Cromwell by her side. I took the podium, told the story straight, how fake police forgeries and threats led all the way to murder and a political conspiracy for a casino land grab. The crowd was ready to boo me out until Richard walked in. Silence, like I've never heard. Veronica froze. Cromwell tried to slip out, but the feds were already in place. Richard played the tapes, Veronica dissolving poison, Cromwell talking payoffs, both plotting to eliminate problems. Federal agents swept in, arrested them both on the spot, murder, conspiracy, bribery. The crowd went wild, tears, cheers, hugs all around. In the aftermath, Veronica got life. Cromwell got 25 years. The casino was canceled, homes restored, crooked officials indicted. Richard rebuilt his company and somehow we became friends. I got roped into leading the new legit community association with rotating leadership so no one could ever pull a Veronica again. Now every morning I sit on my porch with a cup of coffee and watch the sun come up over Clearwater Lake, finally truly at peace. You ever feel powerless against someone who thinks they're untouchable? I have. But if you push back, if you gather the right evidence rally, your neighbors refuse to cave. Sometimes justice really does win. So tell me, what would you have done? Ever been railroaded by someone with too much power? Drop your story in the comments. Let's hear how you'd handle a real-life HOA nightmare, or better yet, how you beat one.